Yo everyone, this is Chris from RudeLies, and today we're in our new studio. We've been building this one for quite a while, and now it's finally taking some shape. And so I decided to take you through our remix of Falling, because it's something you guys have requested a lot, and we haven't actually been doing a studio video in quite some time, so I thought I would take you through it and show you some cool elements and like how our new style looks like and how we work. So yeah, let's go. So let's get into it. We'll start off by the drums. They're pretty simple in this project. It's nothing too complicated. It's just our normal kick that we used ever since Cash Flow. We used maybe some different kicks in like different genres, but mostly when we're doing this genre we're using the same kick, only because we know it works. And for a long time we used this technique by cutting it up and like changing the pitch. Nowadays we have a new technique that we use to mix our kick and bass, but back then we used this one and it really works. It just shows that we don't have to have a lot of time worrying about the kick and bass mixing, and I really want to have it clear that we're producing fast, so this technique really works for us. So here's the kick, the tom that generates the bass on the second off beat, and this is on the on this beat. And there's a few different toms. They each have just a little bit of processing. Yeah, this one we boosted a lot of lows just because we felt like it lacked a lot in the low end. Here we low cutted everything because we didn't want anything here. And here we also low cutted. On this tom we have no processing, and on the kick we just have a simple LFO tool, making sure that it like has a little bit less bass, because when we tested it out it felt like it had a little bit too much bass. So because this is a big room kick, we had to make it a little bit less bassy. So for that reason LFO tool is really great. So moving on the other drums, we're not using anything special really, we're using our normal clap. Yeah, been using this one for a long time, works. Here's a top loop that we really like. It added a special feeling to the whole track and like to the kick, because it makes the first hit pretty stereo. And yeah, we thought it was cool, so we used it. And here's hi-hat loop, and together with the hi-hat it makes a cool hi-hat loop. The reason we add this hi-hat is we do that in our productions in order to add more attack to the transients, because with these loops sometimes they lack a lot of transient, and if you like that you really can't get them to stand out, and that's why we sometimes add these hi-hats to like make them more transient-ish. So that's most of the drums, and moving on to the drop leads, together they all sound something like this. Now some things maybe sound a little bit weird because I have enabled this dropout protection, so I just don't get a lot of CPU cracks, so it might sound a bit weird, but I'll try to take you on as much as I can. So I disable the bus processing, so you will hear every layer by itself without the bus processing, and I will explain the bus processing later because it is a part of the whole process of mixing down. Now this is a lead I designed especially for this remix, and we'll be using this one in a lot of our newest productions. It is really like transient-ish, and it really stands out. So it's actually 4 layers, and if I take the processing out, it sounds really basic. So this is the first layer. Yeah, it's just 2 saws, one with 7 voices, one with 1 voice, with pitch pitch envelope to make it like have the sliding feeling, and then like a bit of processing just to boost some highs and stuff. Then there's another layer. I don't know why I added this one. It sounded cool. And here we boosted some highs and low cut it a little bit, and also added a transient designer to have a little bit less attack. Here's another one. It's kind of bright, so we wanted to exaggerate that and add a little bit more high end. And here is the transient designer again, taking off some transient. And here's the final layer, having like a little bit more transient and it being real wide. These are the support layers altogether. And if you combine them, yeah, they sound pretty cool together. Now here's where it gets really interesting. The processing is really what makes it really sound good. Without this processing, it really just sounds pretty average, and it really doesn't sound good in the mix. So with the processing, we added some reverb, like add some space, and then here's the secret sauce. This is the OTT. We manipulated it a little bit. This is I don't want to go into details how this works. It's essentially just a compressor, but yeah, it just makes everything stand out more and makes it sound better in the mix. I've been using this since AD last year, since Belly Bandit showed this one to me, and yeah, this one works really good. Been using it for a long time, and yeah, makes it sound good. Here's yeah, we low cutted it again to like get rid of the lows that are not needed. And this is a function we use a lot, just listen and low cut. Yeah, that works for us. Then is the K clip, just to cut off the peaks of the audio. Yeah, then a little bit more sustain, a little bit less attack, and a little bit of kickstart. This one is not actually the real sidechain. The real sidechain comes later, and this one just makes sure that it has this sidechainy feeling, not really the sidechain itself. And after that, some tweaks to the EQ, taking out a little bit here. All these frequencies were annoying, and another one here. And at the end, there's a kickstart that we used for the real one. Been using the short setting a lot lately because it really helps to, yeah, get it more of the meat of the sound, so it doesn't like take away so much of the real leads. So makes it like not have this more too much of this sidechainy feeling, and that really works for us. So the next layer is here. This is just a preset we found in Spire, and we disabled all the delay and reverb, and just added some reverb and kickstart, and just EQ'd out the high frequencies, and that was pretty much it. Then there's another layer. This is just noise and silence, and we low cutted it a lot to just have this high feeling, not like when you're high on drugs, but when you are just having the high frequencies. Here's a cool lead, I think. We added this one in the later stage of the remix. Just a little bit of reverb, a little bit of LDT, a little bit of EQ. Just to remove some of the resonant frequencies and kickstart. So this is essentially the whole lead. Oh, there's one layer I forgot. Yeah, this gives you a little bit of that bassy feeling. So together they sound without the bass processing. Now you can say that pretty much makes the remix, but like I said, yeah, this sounds cool, but we need something else to like make it stand out. So what we did, we took the original and we chopped up the real track, and the look at me, I'm falling part was actually without any instrumental, so it was really good to have it here. And here we processed them a little bit different. Here we have a really big sidechain to just get rid of the kick, because there was a lot of kick and we didn't want that, so we low cutted it, took out a lot of bass frequencies and added some reverb. Just added a little bit of space. And then this reverb is just active right here. And it only ensures that it opens up when it goes to the next part. So, and when we did the vocal chop part, we felt it wasn't standing out enough. So what we did, we duplicated this lead and added it here a little bit lower. So this is how it sounds all together. You can see without it, it sounds a little bit empty, so it really helped to fill it out. There is this is a normal groove patch, just silent with some Canal Crusher, Valhalla Room, OTT, and the wall filter that makes it like do that thing. I think I showed you this one a long time ago, and most of you know this one. But I just use it as a fill effect. Of course, low cut and add this. And this is what we've done in a lot of our productions, that we automated the reverb, especially this Arts Acoustic reverb. It's really good because you can, instead of automating the dry wet signal, you can actually take over the wet signal and just dial it in while you keep the dry signal. And that's really useful when you're doing that kind of stuff. So that's pretty much the leads. So now going over to the bass, gonna disable then all the bass processing. We just have 3 layers. This is gritty noise to complement the basses. This is an old preset from Cashflow. You remember that track? We made it a long time ago, and yeah, we tweaked that preset to fit our songs. So yeah, it's pretty easy. We have this big library of presets that we made ourselves or we took from songs, and they really help when you need some inspiration or just want to work fast. So my advice in using presets is basically like make a lot of presets, and if you tweak them, you can always save them, because they're always good to have. So that's my advice. Then we have this this Ripper sound, and I called it Skyline Ripper because it reminded me of that track by Sick Individuals that was called Skyline. And on this one, we didn't actually do that much, just some reverb, some OTT, and some kickstart, and then Here, same thing, just with a G clip to cut off the peaks you see there, right there. And that's, and then we have some, oh, I forget the bass processing. So on the bass processing we have some, on the bass processing we have some filter just automated, some K clip. Boost it on volume, but also make sure that there's not too much peaks. Yeah, we automated this gain, so we could bring it up later. Then some Mag EQ. Actually haven't touched this one at all. I don't know why it's even there. Then we have some normal EQing. Oh, maybe we thought this one didn't sound cool, so we just left it there and then boosted some mice here. Probably what we did. And then we low-cutted some of the side frequencies because they didn't sound good to us. And I really recommend that you use mid-side EQ because it can give you a lot of control of the sounds. Especially in the low end, you don't want to have much sides. And that's really cool. So, moving on, there's this little chord thing that we made that has it's made in massive, and we added some arts acoustic reverb. I think it's just for really meant for automation, but we didn't use it. Then some tape stop with glitch, and here's an EQ just cutting off lows, some reverb, some OTT, and some kickstart. Really basic, nothing really special. So before we go over the bus processing, I'm just going to show you what we did in second drop with the drop leads. We have oh, and later on the drop there comes this one. That's like a, how should I say it, an arcade ARP or something. Yeah, this one it's like a pulse wave and just a little bit of reverb and some J clip. And here in the second drop, to make it like more powerful, we added this Don Diablo chorus preset I made a long time ago. I remember it was for a remix of We Are Better Together, and then instead of the old reverb that is pretty long for us, we added some of the shorter reverb and some kickstart, some EQing, taking off a little bit of the low mids and boosting some highs. Then I don't know why we chose this one, maybe to check something. And then no, this is not automated. Oh, maybe this is from like songs before. And then we just took a bit out of the peaks. So that's basically all of the sounds of the drop. Now I'm gonna show you how we process the leads. Cutting off some. This one is just for automating in some points, as I told you. It creates some tension in some parts. So once again, cuts off some peaks. And this is for transitions. Some Mag EQ to boost some of the high end. And then some EQ just to take off some high mids. Yeah, I forget to enable it. And some highs. And then the overall bus processing, just taking some peaks off, just low cutting the sides. Just some Pro MB just to tame the high end, and then some kickstart. Yeah, and this one is just for the beginning, so that in the beginning it sounds like it's really sidechain and pumping, and later in the track, so that it just like is fast and attacky. So that was our idea behind it. So now let's go through the different elements we used. We just used a normal snare and Oh, these are just some reverse reverbs. You can look it up. It's really easy to make, nothing really special. A laser. That sounded pretty cool and we wanted to use. Then some white noise. Just for the beginning of the drop. Wow from the Rambo track by Dioro. This is a pretty old sample. I'm pretty sure most of you know which one this is. Sample from Loax and Jaden Jack's collab. Yeah, this is a pretty cool sound. Just some kind of ripper or something, I don't know. Sounded cool. And this is like some kind of interesting sample that we added just so it sounds pretty interesting when it changes up, because there was two different parts in the drop. So for it to sound cool, we added this one. And then there's like I think it's not a cashmere fill. I think we manipulated it a lot just to. Yeah, it's like a cashmere fill, but we manipulated it so it had the rhythm we wanted. And then there's some crashes, some reverses, and here's the parts of the falling. Some parts we just right here, right now. Low cutted it and added some reverb. Right here, right now is look at me. So it sounded cool. And in the breakdown we added a guitar. I don't know why it's doing that right now. So it just like pretty normal rhythm. So it just had this little bit strum in the beginning. In the actual original, it has a strum, but only later in the track. Yeah, and that's just a Hoover sound here, just to make it like to have some bass, because we didn't want the bass from the original one. And then just some build snares. We like to make most of our build snares manually, because it allows us to have more creativity over how we want our build snares to be. So that's that. Some more build snares. And then a lot of effects. Yeah, we just feel like what's needed. So all the effects are like the icing. You have to know how much you have to have of them, but they're really necessary to bring your track to the next level. For example, this is one of the noise risers from our sample pack that we use a whole lot. And it really works for us. So, yeah, there's not much more to this remix. It's pretty straightforward. So, oh, and one more thing, I can just show you how the intro and outro is working when we were thinking about that. In the intro, we low cut a little bit of the drums, but yeah, then we added some down sweeps and up filters to build it up to the breakdown, and of course use some vocals just to make sure that the listener knows that this one is coming in. but not in this part because that like in the sense of composition it conflicts a little bit, so we didn't use it there. So yeah, and in the outro we decided to use this falling part to just put in the outro. And we kept it pretty simple, so this project wasn't really hard. We made it in like, I guess it was like 3 days. Yeah, so it just came pretty fast. So this is a good advice for me. For me, like when you're making something, just focus on the creative process and like let it flow. So when you have inspiration, make some presets. When you don't, use some presets, because that's why I showed you we use a lot of like these ones are from our old songs, because I know they work and they work with our bass. So that means that I know how they will sound, and you know, when we put them in on our songs, they will still sound like our songs because we used them in our previous songs. And that in a small, like step by step, builds up our sound. So by using and reusing presets that you process yourself are gonna make it sound like you. So that's my biggest advice for you guys. Like, just when you're using, when you're in the creative process, just focus on like all the leads and stuff. So like, don't focus so much on the details, because the details you're gonna do at the end anyways. So the mix down process in the beginning, it's not the most important. I don't focus it on myself, just to the level that I want to know how powerful it will sound. That's how much I process. Then on the little details and little mix down details, I always do them afterwards. So yeah, that was our falling walkthrough. Thank you for watching, and please make sure to share this one, like it, subscribe. Yeah, and see you guys next time, and let us know what other project of us do you want to see us cover. Thank you for watching.